Hey everybody, welcome back to Play the Game HQ. I'm Daniel, and in this video, we're going to teach you how to play Tapple 10 from the Op, who helped sponsor this video. Tapple 10 is 10 games in one, with each game introducing different challenges utilizing the letters and the categories on the cards. If you're looking for the rules of a specific game, you can find chapters for each different game in the video description. The Tapple 10 cards are all double-sided. One side has 4 categories and the other side has a letter, and all of the games will have different challenges and win conditions, but in most of the games, you'll be revealing a letter, and the color of the letter is going to let you know which category you're going to use from the card. And you'll have to come up with a word that starts with the letter and fits into that category. Game 1 is called Tapple 10 Alpha. You're going to shuffle the cards and put them in the middle of the table with the category side up. Then when everyone's ready, flip over the top card. Remember, the color of the letter determines the category. As soon as the card is revealed, players are going to race to shout out a word that starts with the letter and the matching category. So our letter here is A, and our matching category is fictional character, so you might say Ant-Man. The first person to say a matching word is going to take the letter card and flip over the top card of the deck, giving you a new letter and a new category. And the first person to collect 10 cards wins. Game 2 is called Rake Em, and it's played in turns. You're going to put the sand timer and the stack of cards in the middle of the table with the category side up, and then pick a starting player. On your turn, you're going to start the timer and flip the top card. You have to say a word that matches the letter and the category, so in this case, that's going to be S and games. Once you say a word, take the card and flip the next one, and then continue saying words and flipping cards until the time runs out. Keep all of the cards you completed, and then it's the next player's turn. After 3 rounds, the player that's collected the most cards wins. Game 3 is called 4 in a row, and we're taking turns again. Line up 4 cards in front of the active player with the category side face up, then flip over the timer, and flip the top card to reveal a letter and a color. The active player has to come up with a word starting with that letter and the corresponding categories for each of the 4 cards, so in this case G and the light blue categories. Take each card that you answer before the timer runs out and then reset for the next player. After 3 rounds, the player who's collected the most cards wins the game. Game 4 is called Head to Head, and it's a 2-player race to beat the timer. Start by getting the timer so that it's roughly half and half on the top and bottom, and then lay it on its side and put the stack of cards in the middle of the table, category side up. Pick a first player, then start the timer. The active player flips over a card and then says a correct answer before the timer runs out. So a company that starts with M could be Microsoft. Once you say an answer, take the letter card and flip the timer. Then the next player is going to flip a card and say an answer. And you're going to go back and forth like this until someone fails to beat the timer and the timer runs out. When this happens, the player that had the timer run out is going to give one of their collected cards and the card they missed on to the other player. So letting your timer run out costs you 2 cards. Then reset the timer and continue playing, and the first player to collect 10 cards wins. Down the line is game 5, and once again, we're going to start with the sand timer roughly half and half and laying on its side, and we're going to have 9 cards with the category side up in the middle of the table and the rest of the cards in a stack. Pick a first player and then start the timer and flip the top card of the stack to get a letter and a color, and then use that letter and color with the category on card 1, in this case, actresses. Give an answer and then flip the timer and card 1, and that starts the next player's turn. They're going to use the letter and color from card 1 with the category on card 2, and you're going to keep playing down the line, flipping the timer after each turn until one side of the timer runs out. The last player to successfully give an answer before the timer runs out wins the round, and the first player to win 2 rounds wins the game. If you get through all 9 cards, then nobody wins the round. Just reset and start a new round. Game 6 is called Scramble. You're going to count out 2 cards per player plus 1 and scatter them in the middle of the table with the category side up. So here we'd be set up for 4 players. Flip the top card of the stack, and then players are going to use the letter and color to start shouting out answers for matching categories and the scrambled cards on the table. When you answer a card, grab that from the table and keep playing until all of the cards are gone. If everyone gets stuck, just flip over a new card to get a new letter and category color. After 3 rounds, the player with the most cards wins the game. Game 7 is called Alpha Build, and it's a battle of elimination. Spread out all of the cards face up in the middle of the table, and then each player is going to take 4 cards to spread out a word, and the color of the letters doesn't matter here. For younger players, you can spell a 3-letter word, and if you want a bigger challenge, you can spell out a 5-letter word. Pick a starting player and then take turns taking a letter from the middle of the table and putting it on top of one of the letters in your word to make a new word. So I've changed begs to bags. If you can't make a new word, you're out of the game, and the last player who can make a new word wins. Game 8 is called Countdown. Give everyone 10 cards stacked letter side up in front of them, and put 1 card with the category side up in the middle of the table to start the discard pile. At the same time, all players are going to race to get rid of their top card. You need to come up with a word that starts with your letter and matches the category that's the same color as your letter. As you answer, flip your top card and put it on top of the discard pile. This means the category is going to be constantly changing throughout the game. If more than one person puts their card on the discard pile at the same time, the player who got their card there first leaves it, and everyone else puts their card back on top of their stack. The first player to get rid of all of their cards wins the game. The penultimate game is called Last One Standing. Stack the cards in the middle of the table, category side up, and pick a starting player. You're going to go clockwise around the table, and the first player is going to flip the top card and say a matching word. So we have A and cold things. Then the next player has to say another word using the same letter and category, and you'll keep taking turns with the same letter and category until someone can't come up with an answer. That player is out for the round, and the rest of the players keep playing with the same letter and category until only one player remains. That player takes the card, then the new round starts with all of the players back in using a new letter and color. The first player to collect 3 cards wins the game. And finally, game 10 is called Under Pressure. Set out the sand timer and the cards in the middle of the table with the category side up and pick a starting player. On your turn, you're going to flip over the timer and then reveal the top card of the deck, but you're going to ignore the color. The active player has to shout out a correct answer to all 4 categories on the card using the same letter. If you answer all 4 categories before the timer runs out, take the card, and if not, leave it there. Either way, it's the next player's turn, and they're going to flip the timer and flip over another card. The first player to successfully answer all 4 of their categories with their letter before the timer runs out takes all of the cards in the face-up stack, and then it's the next player's turn with a new timer and a new card. The first player to collect 10 cards wins the game. And that's all 10 games in Tapple 10. If you have any questions at all, be sure to leave us a comment and we'll answer as quick as we can. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later. Bye.